The following program was recorded at WERC's annual conference in Orlando, Florida. I'm pleased to welcome Supply Chain Brain Editor Emeritus, Gene Murphy.
Hello. Today I'm speaking with Dennis Downing, CEO of Future Industrial Technologies. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you.
I understand your company has a program called BackSafe that has to do with preventing workplace injuries. Tell us about that.
That's correct, yes. We go into companies, distribution centers and trucking companies and whatnot. Anybody experiencing any type of musculoskeletal type injuries, back injuries, shoulder injuries, etc. And we help them keep employees safe by preventing those types of back injuries and claims.
Tell me a little bit about some of the risk in the distribution environment that make those jobs susceptible to back injuries.
Yeah. Number one is just by definition of what they do, distribution center, they're material handling. And there's a tremendous amount of material handling that goes on, even in an automated environment. And so you have not only repetition, but you've got the weight, you've got the different size boxes that they have to deal with, plus the fact that they're standing on a hard slab, right, which can affect the hamstrings, which then affects the low back, okay? So there's a tremendous amount of potential for what we call cumulative trauma. Right, innocent stresses that build up over time on the body that can add up from day to day to day and make one feel perhaps a little older than they should at times. It turns into discomfort, pain, and then for the unlucky, the injury.
So we often see these workers wearing belts around their middle to protect their backs. Mm-hmm. What kinds of things are companies doing now, and what's effective and what's not effective?
Well, my hat's off to companies that are trying. The belts were big years ago. It didn't really, get the return on investment that they wanted. There's a number of issues for that. But what our company saw was that there was a complete lack of knowledge of how one should use their body, not only on the job, but at home as well. All right, so you would think that with 80% of the population having some type of a back injury in their life, that we would be, right from grade school, taught how to prevent these types of injuries, but we're not. So we saw a dearth or a void of training in the area, so we developed our program to teach employees for the first time in their lives how to use their bodies so they can control whether or not they'll ever get a back injury or not.
So is this training where you go into a site, or is it video training, or what?
That's a really good question, because video training is absolutely useless, really. In order to change behavior, which is what we have to do. Running a video will intellectually give somebody information, but when we studied video-based training, people could get 100 on a test, but when they went out to the workplace, they never applied anything. Not one of the people that we observed in our research and development applied the principles from a video when they went back to work. So what we saw is that we have to go on site, we have to customize the training specifically, including the vernacular, everything for those employees, train those employees for their benefit. And the key to our training is that it is practical in nature. So we actually create a simulated environment that simulates what they do. So instead of hearing what they should be doing, they actually feel it by performing kinetically their jobs using our principles.
And have you gone back to check and see that if this training actually sticks?
Yes, we've been in business 18 years, and it is the reason why we've been in the business 18 years is that our format of training employees with customized training and a practical module right? Gets employees to understand, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing, and now I can control the amount of physical stress on my bodies, not only on the job, but at home. So when we get employee buy-in, we know that's going to lead to a very high return on investment for employees. Back injuries and shoulder injuries are, in the distribution and trucking industry, the highest cost injury. There's a lot of lost time, and there's a lot of medical costs. So we've been able to go in and see reductions of 70% in work comp, 60%. I'm speaking here with a company today that their work comp in the distribution centers went from $1.4 million to $80,000 a year.
So the management is very much aware of the problem then?
Yes. The problem with management is that they've never been able to really address it, right, and to fix the problem. 98% of the money in the workers' comp industry in the United States is spent on the claim. So when there's a claim and then, all the medical costs and whatnot, only 2% is spent on preventing the claim, because operations managers and others have in the past thrown money at trying to reduce injuries, but employees never responded because of video-based type training. So when we go in, we're actually training employees for the employees' health's sake. We get them to buy in, and thus you're going to get the reductions in work comp. So management is very keen on reducing the cost that they spend on workers' comp.
Are there issues for truck drivers as well as for warehouse workers?
Absolutely. It's the same thing. You have sustained postures and repetitive activities. Okay? Most people don't know that the spine, right, is made up of 24 bones. Okay? Now, you would think, as a society with 80% of us having a back injury, that we would be taught everything about the spine, right? As we are our vehicles when we drive. We know what's good and what's bad for the vehicle. So there's 24 bones in the spine, and there's 3 curves. And a typical truck driver will slouch, right? And in between those bones, you have a disc, you see? And those discs, when you slouch, are being put at stressful postures and positions. And then when they go to get out, right, they may twist getting out of the vehicle. Now that's just operating the vehicle, never mind the material handling and the other strenuous activities that usually a truck driver has to do. So there are a lot of opportunities for shoulder back injuries with truck drivers, but with proper training, they can control how they feel at the end of their day.
So the employees must really like this approach.
It's the key to our success, right? Because if the employees perceive that the company is training so the company can save money, they'll push back, right? So our whole program, the obstacle course that we create, that practical module, the stretches, all of the things that we incorporate in our training is customized for that work group, okay? So they actually help us develop the program through our assessments and whatnot. So when we're training them, our mission is to reduce work comp costs for the company and increase production. However, our purpose is to help those employees not only on the job but at home, and they perceive that the training is for them. So we're training one of the largest bus companies in the United States right now, and their bus drivers, a comment that just came, there's a fellow that's been driving bus for 50 years for that organization, said it's the best training they ever got because he got something personally out of it. It was designed for his benefit, you see, for the employee's benefit.
And how long does the training usually take? Is it 1 day, 2 days?
Well, that's the nice part of it. It doesn't cut into production too much. So the training, there's a lot of preparation of it, but the actual training itself is only 2 hours in length. Okay, so it doesn't cut down on the operations and, mess that aspect of it up. So it's 2 hours of hands-on, very intense training designed for the employees with the stretches and the obstacle course that I mentioned. And then there's very easily follow-ups the following 2 years of only 1 hour in length. So a typical program that we work with our organizations, with our customers, are a 3-year program where the first year is 2 hours, the second year is 1 hour, and the third year is 1 hour, with some refresher and kind of maintenance thing kind of built in between to keep the program alive.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We've been speaking with Dennis Downing of Future Industrial Technologies. Thank you for watching.